thank you for joining me again for another edition of Run Level 0. In this episode, we are going to pick up where we left off on the playthrough of the Klingon story arc. We're going to see what the future has in store for our new KDF science officer, Sleestak. Before we log in, you can see that on the login screen, Sleestak is not surrounded by its bridge crew. For example, here he's standing alone in front of his ship. I'll show you in-game how to fix that. But let's go ahead and log on in and see how it unfolds.
Captain, there's no sign of the Sigpa on scanners. We don't know if the Feds destroyed her, but I suggest we not worry about that just yet. Engines and shields are operational, but we need iridium to facilitate immediate repairs to other systems, and our iridium stores were lost in the ambush. Fortunately, there are some asteroids in the vicinity that might have what we need.
Increase your speed using E. Decrease your ship speed by using Q.
Let's find some iridium. Before we get underway, there's a couple of things that you need to do now that we've received our first ship. This is a Burrell-class bird of prey. She has a cloaking device, but she is very squishy. She is highly maneuverable, and she is technically a Raider class of ship, which means you're going to get bonus damage when attacking an enemy's rear arc, so if you're firing at them from behind. So positioning is going to be very important for this ship. What your optimal approach is going to be to engage your cloaking device here, position yourself on a rear approach to the enemy, drop cloak, and open fire. Be advised that Klingons do not have a battle cloak. What that means is you will not be able to re-engage your cloaking device while you are at red alert. So just keep that in mind. Romulans can. Your cooldown is indicated by the little timer on your cloaking device down here. So at a minimum, it'll be 20 seconds on this stock cloak, no bridge officer input, before you can activate it again. This is where your bridge officers are going to be. You see we have no one assigned yet, so we're going to open our character status. Pull this up. We're going to go to your stations, and we're going to assign a bridge officer. Right now, looks like we have nobody on the bridge available. A Raider, a Klingon bird of prey, has universal seating. You have less seats, but you can put anybody anywhere you want. So as we go up, probably finish this tutorial, we're going to gain some bridge officers and we'll be able to assign them here. When we logged in, I showed you where the captain was standing alone in front of his ship portrait. That'll be fixed by assigning your crew to the away team. This is who's going to join you in ground combat. The starship stations are the captain or the bridge officers whose abilities will be available for you to use on the ship itself, and their personal traits will affect the ships. But you can see we have 4 officer slots, but no one has been really picked up yet. So as we go along in that, we will assign officers. Again, look at your mini map. It'll show you where you want to be. Optionally, you can press the M key to bring up the map. The little chevron here shows you your field of view and which way you're facing. So we're going to press R to engage the engines at full speed, or you can toggle the slider here. Q will stop the ship. Helm full stop, sir. I recommend we use scanners. Alright, so we're going to scan for iridium.
This asteroid contains no iridium. but there is that nearby field that might prove better prospecting.
Well, let's get there. Engage full impulse. You can hit Shift R. Sir, I recommend using full impulse to reach asteroid. Press Shift R. There we go. All right. You can hit Shift R, but you can also tap on the full impulse button. It's a toggle, so you tap it again to turn it off, or hit Shift R again. Sir, shop the ship this time, but from now on you'll be responsible for controlling the speed of the ship. You didn't stop the ship. I stopped it. Kill him, stealing my glory. Promising results, sir. Calibrating the sensors for a better look, so we're going to calibrate. Alright, found several asteroids that contain iridium, Captain. Weapons are back online. Oh yeah. Let's shoot some. Here we go. You can see on the mini-map, the red icons indicate targets. Typically, the max range on your weapons is going to be 10 kilometers, so anything within 10 kilometers you can shoot. We are using cannons. Here we have a set of disruptor dual heavy cannons, as well as a turret, which is technically still a cannon. The further away from the target you are when you fire, the less damage you're going to do. And this is that holds true with all of your weapons except projectiles like torpedoes, but especially cannons have severe drop-off. So ideally you want to be within 5 kilometers when you start shooting your cannons. Let's do something here. I'm gonna go to settings, options. You want to go to your controls, and we're in space region. What I suggest under camera type, where it says free camera, this means that when you have your target engaged, your camera is going to stay on a steady angle, whatever angle you left it at last. You're going to have to click and drag to follow a target. So I suggest you change this to follow target. You also have an option of a chase camera that will always stay behind your ship. But follow target will help you keep an eye on your target and watch its maneuvering. So we're going to target this asteroid, hit the space bar to fire all weapons, and we will take those items. Found some iridium. Alright. So let's actually get underway. I'm not going to move at full speed. Alright, let's talk for a moment. You see, only my turret is firing. That's because my cannons and my torpedoes are outside their firing arc. A firing arc is the range in which your weapons can fire. And if you hover over the weapons here, you see the little firing arc appears in front of the ship. It's the little blue colored grid. So the target has to be within that range in order for your weapon to fire. Likewise, you see that the torpedoes have a wider firing arc, and the turret is actually a 360-degree weapon. So just bear that in mind, that you have to bring your weapons to bear on the target. Beam weapons typically have a greater firing arc, with beam arrays having, I believe it's a 270-degree firing arc, and that allows you to broadside, which means if you turn sideways to your target, you'll be able to put all of your weapons on target at the same time. But they typically don't do as much damage per shot as a cannon will. So the greater the damage a weapon can potentially deal, the narrower the firing arc, typically. Okay.
Captain, I'm picking up a Starfleet distress signal. Seems that a frigate looking for us took a hit in a nearby asteroid field. They are disabled. Might I suggest we add to the record of battle by disposing of this Federation scum? Your order, sir.
Prepare for battle. So we're going to engage our cloaking device because we're going into battle. See the enemy target here, he's 17 kilometers away. And you can see the direction that the enemy is facing. He's facing away from us. So actually I'm going to maneuver here. If you press the home, you can see I'm actually heading in this direction, but I'm looking at the enemy. If you ever want to kind of sync up your camera with the way that you're moving, press the home key. Just a little trick there. So we're going to actually stay outside the enemy's field of view here, cloaked. We're going to set up our optimal run so that we can take advantage of that raider flanking damage. I'm going to start dropping speed a little bit so that we don't overshoot the target. And here we are coming in on him, on his rear arc. As soon as we hit 5 kilometers, we're going to drop cloak. Now when you drop cloak, you are going to have a short damage boost for a few seconds. Drop cloak and fire on.
Target's shields have failed.
Got it. Ooh, getting jumped. If your shields, this is your shield strength. If your shields begin to deplete, you can click on the depleted basin to shunt more power over to them. When an enemy ship blows up, make sure you're a couple of kilometers away from them, because as their warp core breaches, you can take some serious damage if you're too close.
Captain, the science officer has determined that we are unable to find the Segpa because the feds are jamming our sensors. Unfortunately for them, we have determined the location of the ships that are jamming us. My recommendation is that we destroy those ships so we can locate the Segpa. It's going to be a tougher fight than what you've faced so far, but the crew is feeling up to the challenge. Your order, sir.
Prepare the cloaking device. So it looks like we're going to take on 3, and they're traveling in a circuit. Well, no. Random. So it looks like we may not be able to... Oh, we may be able to get on them from behind here. What you want to avoid, you do not want to approach from this angle because you'll be caught in a crossfire between the enemies. So you want to come around, take the weakest target from behind. You know, just adapt, but just try to stay out on the outside of them. Try not to get in the middle. You're still going to take fire from all of them, but you can keep the fire on one facing and turn your ship or shunt power to your shields to help mitigate some of that damage. Drop speed so you don't overshoot them.
Target's shields have failed.
And note that when your cloaking device is engaged, your shields will be damaged. Turning out to slow down so I can come back up on the rear.
This is Captain Khadgar of the IKS Segpa. Where is Captain Jarlek?
Jarlek is dead. I challenged the coward for command of the Derp Pak and emerged victorious.
Ha! Finally! That miserable Topa had been a blight for far too long. Congratulations! May you bring glory to your ship.
And your house. Speaking of which, do you want to join our fight against this Federation Patak? My long-range comms are down, so I cannot notify High Command of the situation.
Kapla. Our disruptors thirst for more Federation hulls to lance. Communications officer, make a report to command. Give them our coordinates and tell them the Segpa is in need of assistance. Let's rescue the Segpa. Kapla. Sir, the Federation ship is hailing us. I'm not here to talk. We'll answer them with our disruptors. She says we're making a huge mistake. Federation talk. Galaxy class. You notice that I'm not in optimal position. See how they're firing at us from front and behind? That's because we're in the broadside. I'm going to hit my evasive maneuvers and get right back around behind them, hopefully. Slow down. This is going to take effectively half of the weapons out of the fight. Let's get out of the broadside. Contact Captain Kagdar.
We're going to stay here while repairs are underway. But you need to get that Federation prisoner to Kronos immediately. High Command is expecting him. You probably want to spank him by now. I know I did, but that would be a career-ending move for you. Just get him to Kronos.
So as a reward, we're going to get experience points, expertise, a set of disruptor dual heavy cannons, Mark II. These Mark levels indicate basically how powerful, they are an indication of how powerful the weapons are going to be. They go from Mark II to Mark 14, but when Victoria's Life comes out, it'll go from Mark I to Mark 15. So for every tier your character is at, so for basically every 10 levels, you will gain access to 2 more Mark levels. So as a tier 1 player from levels 1 to 10, I'll have access to Mark 1 and Mark 2 weapons. From levels 10 to 20, I'll have access to Mark 3 and 4 weapons, and so forth. But that's a discussion for another day. And we'll get a free starship modification. Alright, so let's continue.
Congratulations, warrior.
Alright, so this concludes our second episode, or our first episode in the KDF story arc playthrough. I hope you've had fun today. We will pick up our Klingon warrior Sleestak in the next episode. Stay tuned.